First-time visitors to Japan usually stick to what is known as the Golden Route: Tokyo, Osaka, Kyoto, maybe Hiroshima and Nara, and that's usually it. And that's fine. If it's your first time, those are great places to visit. But this video is for the return trips, where you should start to get a little bit more adventurous. Starting in Kanazawa, with 5 amazing bars in 5 cities that are definitely worth visiting. One of the biggest towns to avoid getting bombed during World War II, it kept a lot of very well-preserved old samurai and geisha districts, Edo-style architecture, along with some amazing parks and castles that I totally forgot to film because I'm very good at making YouTube videos. Kanazawa is also a pretty great nightlife town as well. There's definitely some nice areas with bars and restaurants, but obviously nothing like you'd find in Tokyo or Osaka. A lot cozier than Kabukicho or Shinsaibashi. There is one bar, however, that could easily stand up with the best of them, and that bar is Furansu. For those of you without impeccable Japanese language skills like myself, Furansu is how you say France in Japanese. The bar is named that way because it's run by 2 half-French, half-Japanese brothers who were raised in France but moved to Kanazawa to open this bar. I think that's what they told me. Honestly, I might just be making that up. But the name makes a lot of sense because the bar really does feel like a mix of European and Japanese-style cocktail bars. Definitely more advanced and adventurous than you would typically find in Japan, with a lot of fire and smoke and custom infusions and over-the-top presentations, but the Japanese hospitality and focus on Japanese flavors keeps it grounded in Kanazawa. The cocktails feel a lot like art pieces, which also fits the theme of the bar since they do have a heavy focus on showcasing local artists on a rotating basis. This bar is just straight up fun, and the crew that run the bar know how to have a good time. It's always great when the people behind the bar are having just as much fun as the guests on the other side because it makes the experience that much better. If you're in Kanazawa and you're looking for a good night out, this is the place. Deep in the mountains of Gifu Prefecture is another beautiful old town called Takayama. This is a much smaller, more intimate experience than Kanazawa, with one very well-preserved old town and lots of sake. There's a disproportionate amount of sake breweries in this very small town. I mean, it's 2, but considering the size, that's quite a lot. And they both offer tastings. 100 yen per taste, served straight out of what might be the greatest invention of all time, the sake vending machine. Put a coin in, press a button, and get delicious sake from around the country. There's so many incredible varieties of sake to taste, along with lots of different umeshus and other fruit spirits as well. Getting a little tipsy during the daytime is always acceptable when you're on vacation. I've only ever seen the sake vending machines here in Takayama and in Niigata in the north. So if you see one, you must drop everything and go drink sake, or else you will lose my respect. And that's a guarantee, because this is the best shit ever. This is, however, a purely daytime activity, and Takayama is kinda sleepy with not a lot of things to do at night. If you're a beef enjoyer, you can go eat the local Wagyu, which Takayama is also famous for, or hit up an onsen for a nighttime soak. There are plenty of onsens around town, which is another must-do Japanese experience. But don't worry, I didn't put Takayama in this video just for the sake vending machines. It's in this video because of Bar U. There's something very different about Bar U. It doesn't feel like a typical cocktail bar. It feels very makeshift. Like a guy who just loves making great cocktails found a building and set up shop with what he had available and just started making drinks. All the glassware is vintage as if it came straight from your grandmother's cabinets, vintage furniture as well, and bottles just strewn everywhere across the bar because there's no real place to put them. But it creates an atmosphere as if you've been invited into someone's home for a cozy, casual cocktail party by a host who just loves to make drinks. Tons of random jars filled with infusions and syrups, and a handwritten menu stapled to the wall with some absolutely sensational cocktails. Most of the drinks are riffs on classics, but very delicious riffs using locally grown citrus, sake from the same breweries we visited earlier in the day, and those house-made syrups and infusions from the jars resting on the bar top. I normally prefer sitting at the bar, and I think it's odd when places don't have bar seats, but not having any bar seats totally makes sense here. This doesn't feel like a bar. It feels like someone's home. I really like Takayama. I think it's a must visit if you're ever exploring the Japanese mountains, and not just because of the beautiful old town and the nature and the sake. I think it's a must visit because of places like this. A lot of people who visit Hokkaido tend to stick to mostly two places. They go to Sapporo, and then they head to the mountains for skiing. But I need to make an argument for Hakodate. The third largest and southernmost city in Hokkaido is without a doubt one of the most beautiful cities in the country, and it often gets overlooked. One of the first places in Japan to open its port to international trade, it has an east meets west feel that is very different to every other city you might visit. Lots of beautiful architecture, amazing cherry blossom viewing spots, great coastal scenery, and an absolutely stunning mountaintop viewpoint that is one of the best in all of Japan. Hakodate is the gateway to Hokkaido, and a new city that I am so glad I visited. And obviously, if I'm going to a new city, I'm going to check out the bar scene, but selection was a bit sparse on a Monday night. Eventually I came across a bar called Concord 21. Now this is a cookie-cutter Japanese cocktail bar if I've ever found one. A dictionary-sized cocktail menu consisting entirely of classics, a random assortment of liquor brand decor all over the walls that has been constantly growing in size since the 80s, and a bartender twice your age who speaks just as much English as you do Japanese. And I say all these things with the utmost respect because this type of bar is the backbone of the previous generation of cocktails, and we wouldn't be where we are now without places like this. And you will get an absolutely perfect classic cocktail no matter what you order, guaranteed. I love visiting bars like this, especially in the smaller towns, because even though I speak broken Japanese and everyone else here speaks broken English, alcohol ends up being the glue that brings the pieces together, and I always end up with a great night out. Eventually, in my extremely beginner Japanese, I got to chatting with the bartender and asked if he had any recommendations for other bars I should visit. And I was fully expecting a recommendation by name and maybe some directions, which would have been perfect, but this absolute legend, who is working by himself by the way, leaves his bar to walk me to the next bar he recommends I go to. And this bar wasn't close, it was a couple blocks away. That is insane levels of hospitality and something you only see in Japan. And his recommendation was fantastic because he led me to what I think is the best bar in Hakodate, and that bar is Journey. Now, full disclosure here, there are no secrets on this channel. I filmed this Hakodate footage about 3 years ago, and I've been sitting on it ever since because I didn't know where to use it. That happens sometimes, it's kind of the reason I'm making this video in the first place. Lots of great places to visit, but not enough content for a whole video. And in that time, I lost all my notes. I do not remember what I drank there, but what I do remember is that I had an amazing time, and they have a stellar selection of gin and absinthe, along with a great menu of classic and original cocktails too. And exceptionally friendly hospitality, much like Concord 21 before this. I don't remember much of that night for reasons I'm sure you can figure out, but I do remember looking back fondly at my visit to Journey and a great desire to hopefully one day return. Go to Hakodate, go to Journey, go to Concord 21 as well. You won't regret it. For the first 3 towns in this video, I showed you some great B-roll, traveled around the area for a bit, and talked about what you can do when you visit. But honestly, I don't have any of that for Yokohama. Go to Chinatown or the Ramen Museum or something. I literally came here just to go to Newjack. One of the most famous bars in Japan is Bee's Knees in Kyoto, while Newjack is the original bar from the team behind Bee's Knees. Originally imagined as a flair bar, they recently renovated the entire space with an aim to incorporate more cocktails. Still a little bit of flair, but a more rounded experience. Which is great, because I think flair bartending is fucking stupid. Not really, I'm over-exaggerating, I have a lot of respect for flair bartenders. But I do have some flair-related lore to share with you. Gather round, children, it's story time. The year is 2016. 10 years ago, I entered a bartending competition called the Top Shelf Open. It was a very big event, bartenders from the UK, Poland, Czech Republic, and even Japan. Lots of talented bartenders. Anyway, this competition was broken into 4 events. There was a speed round, there was pour accuracy, a black box competition kind of like Chopped, and then flair. Kind of like a bartending decathlon. You're awarded points based on placement in each event, and then the overall winner is the person with the most combined points. Well, obviously I was at a disadvantage because I don't do flair. So much so that I didn't even bother entering that event. I had to get enough points in the other 3 events to make up for the fact that I was guaranteed to get 0 points in the flair event. Well, guess what, bitch? I came in first in the speed round, first in the accuracy, and 5th in the black box competition, and I won the whole damn thing without needing to do flair. $5,000 in my pocket, and a trip to Louisville for a bourbon distillery tour. Thank you very much. Why am I telling you all this? Just to brag a little bit, but also because I have a shit ton of footage from Newjack, and I needed to kill some time. But truthfully, having a lot of footage is basically the #1 sign that I really freaking like a bar, because it usually means that I spent a very long time there recording video. The pivot towards more cocktails here clearly was a smart move because the menu they came up with is fantastic. It's basically riffs on classics, but each classic has 3 levels of riff from simple to more adventurous. This is the best way to introduce people to new and exciting ideas and get them out of their comfort zone. Oh, you want an old-fashioned? Absolutely. How about after that, you try a new-fashioned? It's a really fun and inventive cocktail menu that does what I love to see from Japanese bars. Combine the old with the new. Also, the food menu is amazing. A little bit of Western influence with things like buffalo wings and quesadillas, but also Japanese classics like ramen and curry. and if you really want to see some flair, I'm sure they'd be happy to put on a show. They are some of the best in the business, with the awards cabinet to prove it. I know I didn't show a lot of B-roll to sell Yokohama as a tourist destination, but it really is a cool place to visit that gets overlooked quite a lot. And if you're coming, you better get your ass to Newjack. It's one of the best bars in the country. Kumamoto is another city in Japan that I really think deserves a lot more love. It's got this super old school vibe to it, like Japan would have felt back in the 90s, with the vintage streetcars, massive walkable shopping streets, and its absolutely incredible hilltop castle. Kumamoto has all the things that make a big city great, like delicious food and fun nightlife, but with a much more laid-back vibe. It's a really great home base for exploring the mountains and hot springs of central Kyushu, and it has what I think might be the best bar in Japan outside of Tokyo. And that bar is Yakoboku. From the moment you step into Yakoboku, you can tell that this is not your ordinary Japanese cocktail experience. The extremely minimalist decor is purposefully designed to force your attention towards the more important aspects of a cocktail experience, the hospitality and the flavors, and at Yakoboku they knock it out of the park on both fronts. There's a deep connection to Kyushu at this bar, with a heavy focus on using hyper-local ingredients and spirits made on the island. Kumamoto is very well known for its shochu production, so the menu leans heavily into those locally made spirits. It's a menu mostly focused on reinterpreted classic cocktails with a Kumamoto twist, but those twists are not your simple swap one in, swap one out sort of thing. There's some real inventive and delicious ideas on the menu here. Things like an espresso martini with pistachio and fermented cacao that uses locally distilled shochu, or a Singapore sling riff using a local gin and house-made kombucha with shiso grown on the island. Every cocktail I tasted was beyond phenomenal, but the best part about this bar is the people. So friendly and cheerful and unbelievably hospitable. Japanese hospitality is top tier, but rarely do you get the warmth and laughter you'll get at Yakoboku. It truly makes you feel welcome and at home. It's an astonishing feat for a bar outside of a major city to be so high ranked on the 50 best bars list. It kind of makes you think that if it were in a bigger city, it would get a lot more traffic and probably rank even higher. But I don't think this bar exists without its location. It is so distinctly Kumamoto in both flavor and vibe. And while I'm sure the team behind this bar could open up anywhere and be successful, if they were to open up elsewhere, it wouldn't be Yakoboku, because Yakoboku, to me, is right where it's supposed to be. I hope this video has shown you that Japan has so much to offer if you get off the beaten path and explore some places you wouldn't have normally thought to visit. There's a reason I keep going back to Japan and will continue to keep going back well into the future. Every single corner of this country has something unique and delicious that's worth exploring, and people who are doing incredible things. And I want to keep telling their stories. So do the YouTube thing and subscribe to the channel, and maybe check out the Patreon to help me make more of these videos. And of course, please drink responsibly.